welcome to AP World History, the online edition. We are going to replicate class as much as we can today. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is put away your phones and stop talking, and let's get the lesson started. All right, that was fun. So we are going to go ahead and get started. There have been numerous changes made to the AP World History test. Among those are that we will only be covering units 1 through 6 on the AP test. And that would covers the era from about 1200 to about 1900. Luckily for us, we have covered all of those units, and now what we need to do over the course of the next couple of weeks is review those units. And so with that being said, we have designed an assessment that will kind of get you to refamiliarize yourself with the unit guides, as well as think critically about the history that we are going to be learning, and review some of the major concepts that we want to review over the course of the next few weeks. With that being said, I will introduce you to the assignment, and I will explain a bit more about the assignment. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. If you, once again, if you do have questions about the assignment, I am available via Remind. I'm available via Teams. I'm available. So please do not hesitate to contact me. So here is the assignment. It's going to look a little bit different once you get to it, but this is an early sort of prototype, I guess. So, and you'll want to read the directions pretty closely, and obviously if you do have any questions, you can contact me, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. So what you have is a list of terms, and here is your list of terms delineated by each unit. It is important for you to be familiar with these units, and then be even more important, it's going to be important for you to be familiar with some of the important events and concepts for this unit. Now you will look at, we've given you a list of 10 terms per unit, and you will go ahead and access the unit guide. If your link works, and it's not working on my computer right now, but it might be different on different laptops. So you can go unit by unit for the hyperlinks that are for each unit. If you can't do it that way, then I have also put in the whole guide, which is going to be a little bit harder to navigate through, but you can do it. So when you click on this, you will get to the unit, or you will get to the AP guide. If you want to go through very, very quickly, you can do your find feature. And I'm just going to type in unit 1 right here, and I'm going to get all the way to the unit. And as you can see, they have these sample instructional activities, and then they give you the topic, developments in East Asia from about 1200. What you want to look at would be these thematic focus, and then read, in government, we are looking at a variety of internal and external factors contribute to state formation, expansion, and decline. Governments maintain order through a variety of administrative institutions, policies, procedures, and governments obtain, retain, and exercise power in different ways and for different purposes. So if that's going to be the thematic focus, you might want to look at, did we give you any sort of dynasties? Did we give you any sort of government? If we did, that should tip you off that that's going to be pretty important. So Not only that, but you also want to look at the historical developments and look at what they are asking for that. And it's important for you to be aware of these historical developments because a lot of the questions that you will come across on the AP test will in somehow incorporate these historical developments. So once you do that, once you go through these units, and looking at the historical developments, looking at the thematic focuses. And once again, you don't have to memorize these, but please do be familiar with them. So what you're going to then do is you are going to pick 5 from each unit. So let's say you choose the Song Dynasty. That is obviously one that we would want to work with. The Abbasid Caliphate, definitely. Feudal Europe. I don't want to choose all of those for you, but you kind of get the point. I also think that it would be a good idea to try to pick and choose from throughout the world. You don't want to just stick in one area. You don't want to just stay in Asia or Europe. So the Song Dynasty, which is Chinese, you definitely want to look at that. Feudal Europe, the Abbasid Caliphate, which is in the Middle East, and then you want to go over to maybe the Maya city-states, and even then the Great Zimbabwe, because that's in Africa, and you've got about 4 or 5 right there already. And then maybe choose one, one of the religions, one of the religion ones. Once you do that, you are going to come up with a justification. Why are your 5 chosen events so important? You will also want to include a reference to maybe a historical development or even one of the thematic focuses. And then once you do that, you'll write a, sort of, for each of them, maybe a 1 to 2 sentence justification. Once you do that, you would want to develop a multimedia presentation. That could be a PowerPoint, it could be a Prezi. If you are interested in making films, it could be something like this, where you talk over it. I really just want you can be as creative as you want to be. The first slide that I see should be a slide regarding your justifications. Okay, so this is kind of the way that I want you to do your PowerPoints. If you do a PowerPoint or if you do a Prezi, I think this works for a Prezi as well. If you're doing something else, then you use your own discretion as long as it has these elements. Ignore what's over here. I just kind of, this is from a previous PowerPoint that I did. It should look familiar to you. But anyways, the first slide that I should see would be where justification unit 1. And let's say you do Song Dynasty. I think everybody should do Song Dynasty. And you would just give a 1 to 2 sentence. So I'm just going to put in some words here. So here is my justification for why the Song Dynasty belongs. And here I have cited the appropriate. And that's another thing that you should actually do whenever the PowerPoint or whenever Word is trying to tell you that you did something wrong. You should, in fact, change it so that, because they're really just there to try to help you. In here I have cited and appropriate historical development. Obviously, you would not write exactly that, but you would have to develop your own justification, but it would look like this. And then let's say you went with the Abbasid Caliphate, and then here is my justification for this with an appropriate historical development. So just multiply that by 5, and obviously I have misspelled or I have mistyped the Abbasid Caliphate, and now I am back. Now, the next thing that I want you to see is this is kind of what I would like for your slides to look like. Now, I need a sort of visual representation. The reason why I want you to kind of go ahead and hunt for a visual representation is that that is going to help you study and help you familiarize yourself with these concepts. Make sure that the picture that you've Googled is era specific. So if you have an actual, like, let's say we're looking at the 1200s to 1400s, the global tapestry, and you type in Song Dynasty and you get a picture of modern day China. Well, that's not going to work. I need a period specific picture. You need to be able to recognize when we are period specific. So the 3 elements that you should have are basically picture, title. So this is where you would write Song Dynasty or Abbasid Caliphate. And then over here, the third element that you need is an explanation of what is this, the who, what, where, when, why, and significance. And you want to have as little or as few words as possible. You don't want any complete sentences. Also, you cannot, you should not copy and paste. Please do not copy and paste. I need all of the words to come from you. The reason for that is the fact that when you start explaining this to yourself, and that's what you're doing, you're explaining this to yourself, then the information becomes yours, and that way you are able to recall the information when you need to recall it. So once again, 3 elements. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but so long as there are 3 elements. The picture right here, a title right here, and then the explanation, or this is where your research comes in. If you do that, there's 5 slides, or sorry, it would be 1 slide per term, 5 slides per. Here, let me write this down so that we can remember it. So essentially, your completed project, and let me make sure I like to center things, so that's just me. I think it makes it look neater. 1 slide per term, 5 slides per unit, which would be about 30 slides, and then 1 slide for each unit justification. So total 36 slides. You have until Friday, April 3rd to turn this in, and I will give you, for you night owls, I will give you until 11:59 p.m. to do it. And I hope that you have better things to do Friday night, so maybe get it done sometime before that time. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me on Remind or Teams. I hope you've enjoyed today's presentation of AP World History, and now I have a special guest that would like to say hello to you. This is Pippa,
Pippa says, do good in school, and then you could be really smart, and you could get history credit, and then you don't have to take history when you go to college. That's what Pippa says. So I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I hope that you're staying safe, and take another look at Pippa.